For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt powder, and Jocko pre-workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code CHAEL30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. Diego Lopes, Ilia Topuria, and Alexander Volkanovski. I'm not ready to let this go. I thought I was. I'm not ready to let this go. This was real hot for a week. And this is real quiet right now. Generally, when that happens in this sport, guys, something's been agreed to. If you ever hear two fighters and they're really going back and forth, just so you understand, particularly if it's a name fighter, this is for everybody. But I mean, this gets extra stressed as you move up the card. Don't tell anyone. You'll get that when you agree to a fight. And there's a number of reasons for that. First off, the more feature that the match is, and you never know. When you sign something, you think that's a huge deal to you, you later find out it's not. Sometimes you'll sign something, think that's a hard fight, you'll see that you're damn near the main event. So what the UFC will, and they will tell you, keep this between us, because they would like to roll it out in their own way. If it's a big enough fight, they're going to make a feature on it. They're going to drop that during a pay-per-view. Dana's going to announce this at a press conference. The media's going to eat it up. The poster's ready to go. The on sale, the tickets, you kind of drop it all at once. There's just a formula. In fact, if you don't have that formula, you basically don't have an organization. It's that important because everybody will touch that announcement. Your matchmakers who get it agreed to. Your lawyers who get the bout agreements. Your marketing team, your PR team, your art and digital team. Like so many things will go in to that it's got to be all right. We agree. Now hold that thought. Let us go to work, right? And a lot of times, it's too big, the guy just can't keep his mouth shut. He'll want to. Ian Gary just went through this. Ian Gary signed a fight, and he's not supposed to tell us who he signed a fight. So for his social media, he shows a bout agreement, and he shows himself signing it, but doesn't tell us the opponent. Now, I'm not picking on Ian there. That was actually of interest. I'm just trying to prove my point to you that it's really hard for these guys to keep a secret. It's really hard. In their world, in the fighter's world, this is the absolute biggest news. And they will constantly confuse that with that being absolutely big news. Constantly. So, I'm sharing that cultural norm within this industry with you. So that you do understand, when we've got Ilia Topuria, we've got Volkanovski, and we've got Lopes, coming at each other from different angles. It started out, who is going to fight Ilia Topuria? That's what it started out as. At the end of the show, Volk jumps out of his seat, runs into the octagon. Well, now we're down to one. It's not really a question of do we have two guys anymore. Lopes didn't know what time it was and stayed in his seat, but then Lopes came out and he called out Volkanovski. That made absolutely no sense. Where would that fight possibly come from? The only name that should be come back. Now, guys, I'm taking you back, by the way. This is timeline, okay? We're at 8 days ago right now. The only name that should be coming out of Diego Lopes' mouth is Ilia Topuria, because he either gets him next or his next fight is with him. How's that work? He sits out. The next time Diego Lopes fights, it's for the World Championship. Now, that might not be the next time the World Championship's contested. Possibly Volk's going to take that. But Diego Lopes doesn't have Ilia Topuria's name coming out of his mouth. In fact, he pulls out the only guy that doesn't have two options for fight, only has one option for a fight, and that is Volkanovski. It made absolutely no sense. Then Lopes sweetens that pot a little bit further and lets us know that they're not fighting for the sake of just fighting. They're going to fight in Australia so Lopes can show Volk, I'm not afraid to come to you. And moreover, the UFC is going to put up an interim title, of which the division does not have. What a fool, right? Well, yeah, 8 days ago, Diego Lopes was a fool, or appeared to be. But that brings you to 6 days ago, Diego Lopes, who was armed with a piece of information that none of us had, which was Ilia Topuria said, I don't want to come to Australia to fight Volk. I am the champion of the world. You come to me. I don't start rearranging dates for you, and I don't start getting on jumbo jets to come to you. So all of a sudden, a need for an interim championship, I will strongly argue with. If a champion is not hurt and or sick, you don't intern him. If a champion is just simply unwilling to fight for whatever the reason, the remedy is you strip him. Now, this fight would be way too soon, and Ilia Topuria was not given enough time to call him a closet champion and to strip him. I'm just sharing with you, the idea of an interim title is weird. However, that's where it ends. And I got to point that out about the interim title because I got done talking about the guy's a fool. He's not a fool. He had information we didn't have. And if that information proves to be accurate, Diego Lopes could swoop in, get a fight with Volkanovski, then move on to Ilia Topuria, and it'd be a really excellent way to do things. Really excellent way to do things. Because this division right now, if you're Ilia Topuria, right, this is very relevant to if you're Ilia Topuria, but he looks like the king and he looks at it by a lot. He beat the greatest of all time and he beat the greatest of all time for that weight class. And he stopped the greatest of all time and he stopped the greatest of all time for that weight class. Like there is nobody that is remotely close. And so you have this fight with Diego Lopes, which would be interesting. It would be new. It would be fresh. Lopes doesn't look like somebody that's going to go away. He doesn't look like somebody, no matter how strong you are, you're going to come out, put down, and keep him there. He might be those things, but he doesn't look like it. It works. The story works. Who do you go to after that? I had never stared at the division. I realized how effective it was and how powerful it was that Ilia Topuria cannot be questioned. He is undisputed. There is no meaningful contender out there. He already went through them. Like, it's very interesting. And Jon Anik gave an example, and it's a very accurate one. We're just throwing names at. But Jon Anik, and he said this right to Daniel Cormier's face. He said what Ilia Topuria has done, being an unknown guy, coming in, rolling through the weight class, with stoppage wins over Max and Volkanovski, is akin to Alex Pereira coming in, unknown, though we can see he's dangerous, and in the same calendar year, knocking out a light heavyweight Jon Jones and a light heavyweight Daniel Cormier. It's a perfect example, and that's exactly what happened. And finding contenders are going to be very hard. Finding Ilia Topuria as a contender had to take a road that no other contender went through, which is one that avoids Max. We have not had a featherweight contender for Volkanovski who hadn't already lost to Max. It was just a matter, how can we polish them up enough to get them back in there after they lose to Max? Do they need one more? Do they need three more? And the only contender they had, the only one that made it to Volkanovski without going through Max, was Ilia. It's very interesting. But I do look at that division, I go, oh my goodness. First off, I don't know where the push is for Aljamain Sterling. I don't know where that push is. There should be people getting behind him, including Aljo. Aljo seems to be pretty happy with the draws. He's getting real good competition. His life is better. He's a happier, nicer person when you talk to him, just not having to cut that weight. But I can't think of a time that a guy was champion in a division, moved to a different division, and had to do more than one. I could tell you times where they didn't have to do any, but I can't tell you an example where they had to do more than one. Aljo did his one, and we're not even talking about him for a title. In fact, we already got a fight signed for him. I'm not overly angry about that, right? If Aljo's not worked up, who am I to be? I'm just sharing for you. That would seem like a real meaningful contender that possibly could solve the problem in the void that I'm talking about right now, which is outside of Diego Lopes. Who do you want to put in there? But after you do that, you start going to a lot of the usual suspects. Hey, Brian Ortega, where are you at? Oh, you're going to 55. All right, no, hey, Yuri Rodriguez. You are absolutely an amazing fighter with a huge bunch of fans, but you don't like to fight very often. Am I right about that, or do you want in here? Hey, Josh, am I right? It's one of these things. That division clears in a hurry. I really hadn't realized that. But I do think the need to start looking at what we could have next, I think that opportunity's there. But the way that works, guys, it isn't me. I don't come and do that. The fighter starts it first. Then guys like me either come in and we make a video laughing and teasing about this guy for having a dream that is so stupid, or we start getting on board with it. But no matter which way we go, that's still the way this game is played. And you 145 pounders have got to start playing this game.